What happens when you put a career-focused woman with 2 kids trying to balance home and work life in a room with a microphone? Lots of laughter, tears, and great advice. Welcome to 2 Kids and a Career. For the first time ever on this podcast, I have a roundtable of very powerful women. I have Jen Singleton, I have Alicia Underwood, I have Becky Lairson, all with Socially Jen & Co. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
This is going to be so fun. I'm so excited. So I wanted to have you all on. I know Jen from the radio business. We worked together on some event stuff. And then you ended up starting your own company, Socially Jen & Co., which we're going to talk about. And then I found out that you had all women working for you. And you're all moms. And I was thinking, well, this is a great episode.
Yeah.
Can you come in? And you said, yes, we would be so happy to. So let me back up a little bit and let's talk about Socially Jen & Co. What is it? How did it get formed?
So about 8 years ago, Becky interned for me, and then it started snowballing. We were working out of my house in different coffee shops, and then I met Alicia 4 years ago, and she came aboard, and she's my business partner. And then we named, first it was Socially Jen, and then Socially Jen & Co. now, and we do all digital marketing.
All digital marketing, which is a big thing, and we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to talk about each of you and your families. Jen, let's start with you. Mom to Eloise, and how old is she?
2.5.
2.5, and I don't know about you, but mine's almost 3, and whoo, we've got some emotions in the house.
Oh, my God. It's crazy.
Isn't it?
It's crazy town. Like, it's drama, drama.
And I hear that it's mostly more with girls, but then I hear from other people with their boys that are like, no, they're just as much drama. And I'm thinking, this is a lot of drama.
They have boys.
Oh.
And we still have drama. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so Becky, tell me about you.
Okay, so my son, Daniel Jr., he just turned 2. And he is so chill, such a great balance of me and my, very tightly wound type A OCD personality, and my husband, who's incredibly relaxed and collected all the time.
That sounds like our household.
Yeah, but it makes for a grab bag of interactions with this toddler who's figuring out exactly who he is and what he feels about things. For instance, just last night, we had a beautiful dinner. We went into the city and had dinner and had ice cream after. And on the way home, it was just like a little switch flipped. And all of a sudden, I'm getting slapped in the face for I don't even know what at this time. But so yeah, lots of drama and excitement. But then I call him the Sour Patch Kid because, seconds later, it's, I love you, Mama.
Or when they freak out because you gave them a fork instead of a spoon.
Oh,
yes.
And it just comes flying at you.
And then they go, your hair's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? You just don't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's crazy town. So then, Alicia, let's talk about your family.
Well, I have 2 boys. One is 2.5, same age with Eloise. They go to the same school together, which is great. We're excited for school to start in about a month. We understand now why
You're not counting down the seconds, are you?
My calendar, I'm Xing it every day. And then I have a 4-month-old boy too, and it's been a challenge trying to adjust to 2 boys. Selling Jen on Monday, I was like, my 2.5 was trying to smother my 4-month-old. Shove cars in his mouth.
You're like, what is going on? So I actually want to speak directly to you, Alicia. I'm kind of struggling right now in terms of society. I'm advanced age for having kids. I'm 42. And so a lot of my friends, they're way past the stage I'm at. But no matter if you have multiples that are 5 years apart, 6 years apart, or a year apart, it's hard. But I definitely think when they're that close in age, so my youngest daughter is going to be 8 months, it's difficult. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I can kind of envision people saying, well, this is what you chose to do.
Right.
And down the line, I think that's, first of all, that was really, it had to be done now if it wanted to be done because of my, and I'm in air quotes, my advanced age. But I also like the closeness. But I think sometimes people who don't have kids that are close in age like that don't really understand how much of a struggle it is.
So it's funny you mentioned that. I was literally sitting on my couch yesterday after work around 5. And of course, my sitter left at 4, and they were perfect for the sitter. I mean, I could hear them. They were great. And right when the sitter left, I was just like, my 4-month-old starts screaming. My 2.5 decides to poop in his pants and pee on the carpet and smear poop all over the bathroom.
Oh, no.
Right at that moment at like 4 o'clock. And I'm just like, I don't understand it. And then I sat on my couch. I was like, who thought? I was like, I'm so mad at my husband. It was his idea to have kids like at this time, because at this time period, and I was just like, I was so angry. And then I called him. I was like, where are you? You better get home. He's like, babe, it's only 5. Like, I'm on my way. But it is hard because originally I wanted them to be 5 years apart because I thought my oldest could go to school and then I could have more time with the second one. And I'm not sure if you feel this, but I feel the guilt that I had undivided attention with my first.
Yep.
And my second one is getting smashed in the morning, slapped. And it's hard, I mean, there's not a magic pill.
No.
I mean, it's...
And I find that, because you have the first and you are only dedicated to them. And then you think, that's the biggest thing. How can I love another human being as much as I love the first? And you do. But now it's, oh my gosh, am I giving the oldest enough time, or am I giving her too much time, but I'm not giving the youngest enough time, and that's not fair to her. And it is a mind game.
Yeah,
it totally is.
Yeah.
So with all of you working together, it has to be like a support group. I mean, you have to come into work and tell the funny stories, but also be there for one another.
Yeah. I mean,
it is.
I couldn't do it without them. Like, no way.
Yeah.
It's like a therapy group, like a Monday.
Well, even if like our kids are sick.
Yeah.
I mean, usually if you work like a different corporate job, you're like taking your vacation, probably. If Eloise is sick, I'll text them and be like, hey, she's throwing up everywhere. I got to stay home. I got to work from home. And they're like, we got your back. It's amazing.
I mean, our motto, we said it's family first, because at the end of the day, I mean, work is important because, we all need an income. But at the same time, we understand that it's not everything. And there needs to be flexibility, especially in our line of work. It's like, digital marketing, we have a joke that it's not brain surgery.
Right.
It's not like we have to save someone's life and be there. So I think we all do a pretty good job of being proactive and just helping each other out.
And balance too, because knowing that like, if I can go to the doctor and they're like, when do you want to schedule a follow-up appointment? And it's like, will Tuesday, the 27th, whatever, work for you? And it's like, yeah, because I can make that happen, because I can go to the doctor during the day on Tuesday, but then Tuesday night I can be, on my computer at 7:30 after the baby goes to sleep and getting caught up with whatever I maybe missed. So, I mean, all of the logistics has been super supportive as a new mom. I still feel like a new mom.
You are.
And I'm going to be playing that card for as long as I can.
Hey, I pulled the hormone card for as long as I possibly can too. So
I'm playing that card now.
And,
totally.
Yeah, and also just the emotional support that comes with people who are literally walking the same steps as you. And I think that it shows in our work too, because there's that like cliche saying that anyone who feels appreciated is going to go the extra mile. And because we all try to really let each other know, hey, I appreciate you stepping in and doing this, or, me as an employee, like they're always very supportive of me and let me know like, hey, I appreciate that you're putting in this time. And so I'm like, I don't mind whipping out my phone and taking care of this while I'm, waiting and at the grocery store or whatever, because later on I can unplug and have that time again.
And that's the hard thing is and we're still not there, but this whole, you can't take off of work because your child's sick, or you felt guilty for doing that when your child's sick and they want you beyond just the, cuddling and being there. But if they're truly, truly sick, where we are doctor visits, and it sucks that there are so many corporations that say your sick days are for you. They're not for your child. And what I was thinking when you were all talking, I had, and you guys are probably familiar with her boutique. Rachel saw her on not too long ago. She is the owner of Leopard Boutique.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she told me, and it was just, it made my mind go, we need more people like you. She's a small business owner. She doesn't have a ton of full-time employees, but her full-time employees, they're considered full-time if they work 30 hours and they get insurance. And some people don't understand how big of a deal that is. That's a huge deal. And I was thinking, man, you hear about, and this is going off kind of on the same subject, but all these different countries, especially with maternity leave and what they're allowing their employees. But just the mindset, if I know things are okay at home, I feel at peace, and I think I'm a better employee. And that's just when you guys were talking about it, like, hey, I know if I have to leave because my child's sick, or I have to cry in the bathroom because I'm just having a tough day, it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, and you speaking about the, other countries, that'll give like a year of maternity leave.
Canada's
I feel like,
a year.
Yeah, I know for sure.
Yeah. I was talking to my friend in Italy. She gets 9 months.
Yeah.
And like half pay, I think, after 4 months. But yeah, I'm just like.
If I would have had a traditional job during like my first year, and it probably speaks for all of us, like we probably all would have been canned.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just all the health things you go through.
Yeah.
I had some unexpected health stuff that popped up around like the 5-month postpartum mark that I thought I was like home free. Like, oh, I did this. This is great. I can see how people pop out a few more. And then, blindsided me to where, if I would have had a limited amount of days off or hours off or however you mark it, like, there probably would have had to be some uncomfortable conversations that I didn't have to have because
It's
of these ladies.
hard. And that is, any company that doesn't believe in paid maternity leave, that's a whole nother episode, ladies.
Yeah.
Because I also think and I would like to do more research, but in the different countries, I can't remember who does it, but where they advocate for, let's say, 8 weeks of maternity leave, and then you come back when the child's about 6 months, because that's another growing part of that child, and then you spend another 8 weeks there, which I think makes sense developmentally. But again, that's a whole nother thing. So digital marketing, digital worlds. And a lot of these episodes, I have talked to women about social media. I see the benefits of social media. I would be lying if I didn't say social media isn't helping with this podcast. But my gosh, it's also a problem.
It's hard. I mean, especially in our industry, they know I would text, especially in our position, like, I'm always on Instagram trying to find for influencers for the business. And it's hard when you see moms, and I would text them and I'm like, oh my God, her life is so perfect. She is so skinny. I'm trying to still figure out this mom pooch. And she lives a fabulous life, and like her house looks so cute, and she stays home. What health insurance is she on? How do they afford it?
Yeah.
Like,
We're crazy.
I mean, I get sucked into like one of them, the Bucket List family. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
I mean, I'm obsessed with them. And they're a young couple with 3 kids under 5, and they travel the world. And every day they're in like a different place. And I'm like, that's fantasy world. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fantasy land. And then also on another note, I do get a little leery about like posting my daughter, or, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'll go to town and be like, oh my gosh, I have to post this so people can see it. It's so cute. But then I stop and think, and like, these are my private moments with her.
Working in this business, you feel the same as people like me who, I mean, I guess I would say I'm a little bit in it because of my job, but you feel the same? You do the same things?
I think it's like 10
absolutely.
times, sometimes like.
I think we're
Because
probably
we're so
dated too.
yeah.
Though. Like it's so funny because we know how curated these moments are that you see when you're scrolling through your feed. There is so much work that goes into these photos that look effortless. And so there's times that we're just like, that's total BS. That is not what they had for lunch. That is not that is not how this day went for these people. But this is how this created. So you have this constant, and that's the industry we're in, right? Is helping sell these ideas of perfection and so I mean that's a whole nother podcast in and of itself. But yeah, because of what we do, we are connected more than probably the average person. And we see the back end of it, but we still are guilty of saying, oh my gosh, how did she have time? How did she have time to make this whole extra playroom just look amazing? And how much money did that cost?
How do they have 8 kids
and the perfect live and lipstick on?
Right. How is she dressed?
How is she dressed? But I think that goes back to the women group. Like, we would do that. We get into this, like, I mean, only these 2 women knows my inner voice. And we get into this, like, my inner, like, Alicia, stop. Like, it's not real. Or, you're doing just fine. And then you're like, okay, oh my God. You're like,
you can get lost.
And so that is a part of that emotional support we get because, we'll get like a text or send a text out like, oh, did you see this? And Jen will be like, that lady probably, probably just as miserable as the rest of us. She's, it's all smoke and mirrors here. So it's nice to keep each other in check.
And I do appreciate when people post the real stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to do that too. I just need to get there. It's a very vulnerable thing to.
I think because moms are judgy. Other moms. You have the hippie mom. You have the mom, the perfect mom, and So after going what Jen said, after I had my kid, I made my Instagram private because I was worried about weird people looking at my son or figuring out where. I don't think it's it's not like we're Meghan Markle, but figuring out where my kid is. But you never know. There are crazy people out there. But I do post a lot. Like, I think like my stories, I had like laundry like all over.
But here's the other thing. Again, on multiple of these episodes for this podcast, we're talking about the exact same thing. We're talking about judging. Where do we break the cycle? How do we say enough is enough?
Yeah, because you do get fearful. Like, I'll be honest. I mean, I never post about this and I never talk about this. My daughter's adopted and she was born addicted to heroin. I'm in the hospital every month. Like, not every month, but an average. I never post that. I never post how exhausting it is, that's something I keep kind of private and I don't, and then I don't know. Are
you worried? I had no idea. I knew she was adopted and I was hoping that we could talk about that in another episode. Are you worried that someone is judging you for, I don't want to say for her being addicted to heroin because why would somebody judge you for that? But is it
like thinking, what do you want us to say? What do you want? Like, why are you telling? Like, just.
And like when you said it, I immediately in my mind was like, oh my gosh, I would like her to come on an episode to talk about this because your story is somebody else's story that they're living through and they need help.
Yeah. And I'm in Facebook groups with moms with,
Yeah.
And that's the other positive of the social media, social media and the connectivity of this generation.
That's a positive part.
We've all individually had some pretty earth-shattering instances as mothers that we were able to go beyond our immediate circle, beyond doctors and sterile exam rooms and find other moms like us online that have had stories that literally, I mean, no therapist and a pencil and pad of paper are going to be able to help you solve.
So I'm in Facebook groups, like with parents that have, or moms that have adopted, or moms that have adopted children with,
We haven't talked about this at all, about the positive stuff, but stuff like this.
This motherhood is, as much as we have a support group, it's very isolating.
Mm-hmm.
And, especially in postpartum, like even the first week or two, I was like going crazy. Just the mechanics of like waking up, changing diapers and tending to so there'll be me at 2 a.m. just scrolling through Instagram, feeling like I'm alive a little bit and connected to the world. And then I became friends with this mom from Atlanta, and we talk, and her daughter was born a day before my son. I have no idea who this lady is, but we're friends now.
I didn't even think about the private Facebook groups that are available. It's like, duh, yes, those are so super helpful. Well, let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about your kids and social media. You all three, as we have learned, are in digital marketing. And when it comes time for your kids and social media and the world of digital, what do you say to them?
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
My son takes my phone down and
my
says,
God.
Mama, look, I'm working. And I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I see moms and dads that have already made Facebook accounts for their kids, and they're actively tagging their kids. And I see these, Pinterest hacks that are like, make an email address for your kid and email them all these memories and this.
Yeah.
And even as a professional, I'm really divided about that, because actually I have this hilarious picture of my kid, his little bare dimply bottom, watering some basil. And I pulled it up and I was going to post it on an Instagram story or something. And then I thought, man, when he's 13 or however old, is he going to be like, Mom, why the hell were you sharing pictures of my butt all over the meat? So I texted it to them instead, of course. But, I've heard, how are these kids going to feel knowing pretty much every moment of their childhood was kind of shared with the masses, even if the masses are just your grandma and your aunt in another state, or,
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't. Well, and when you were talking about the butt, I was immediately thinking of Pink. I'm sure how people gave her so much trouble.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were going to go to, or the negative comments and the this and that. I wasn't even thinking about our kids.
Their opinion
They
on
care.
their butt being out there in the world.
Yeah. just even I know a couple of times oh my God, they're both in the shower together, my kids, giving the bath together, and I'd snap a photo and I was like, I wanted to post this, and great grandma could see. But then I was just like, it's like, I don't know where is this living and what server, so I just texted personally. And that's the thing too. I feel like as a professional in social media, this is my personal opinion, that I just don't think everyone needs to know everything. And there's certain moments and certain photos I would just text it to them.
The balance of the real. 'Cause going through postpartum OCD and anxiety stuff, I wrote a few kind of essay type things and shared them, because I was like, I know how helpful it was to have that as a resource, reading it when I was going through the thick of it. But then it's also I'm not going to post about this every day. Oh, the dog pooped in my living room, or, oh, this happened today. There are sometimes, like Jen said, just the fear of people that are just always, it seems like, fishing for sympathy or fishing for...
Yeah, because there's a lot of people on there, I won't say any names, but there's some influencers on there that are always...
They're banking on that, I feel.
Yeah, it's
that vulnerability.
And it's depressing. Every post is about, depressing stuff. And it's like...
I think there is a balance of realness, and then there's a balance of just being empowering, because it's cool that things happen, but I think we want to see the big picture is how can we empower each other and rise above the occasion.
Okay, so tell me, how do you, ladies?
It's hard. There are moments. There are times where it's just anything that's very personal. Oh my God, I had a complete meltdown in a parking lot after I worked out, crying, and just I just didn't know how to deal with work. My baby was 3 months at that time, and my crazy 2.5-year-old, and rising costs and, and all that stuff. And I think it's okay to have those moments privately and then tap into the two closest or whoever, and tell them how you feel and then realize that, it's okay to feel that way and then have your moment and then pick back up and went back home, cooked dinner, prep everything for the next day, got to work and yeah.
Yeah, letting go of the idea of perfectionism that is like even people that don't realize that cast their judgments on you constantly. I was not prepared as a mom for all of the unsolicited opinions and advice that just come at you from every angle. And so I do think at some point you just get better at like just letting it be water off a duck's butt.
Like your mom.
Like shake it off. Yeah, mom.
Water off of a duck's butt. I like that.
It's just, it gets a lot. Maybe, it doesn't get easier, but you get better. I don't know
I think that's something that I try to, when you hear, and we're probably closer to this, Alicia, about, are they crawling yet? Are they this yet? It's like, if they are, they are. If they aren't, they aren't. Like what does, and I know that those are, some of them are just conversational pieces, but some of it sometimes feels like
judge.
Ooh, yes.
You know what's funny? I saw the perfect Facebook, back to social media.
Yeah. It is a necessary evil, right?
Right. I grew up in an environment where my mom had me everything from ballet twice a day to art classes to piano to violin to, everything. My days were from 6:30 to 10 o'clock at night every day.
Oh.
It was regimented. It was, you got to be the best, and doing that. And, if your math is not good, we're going to take you to extra classes and make sure your math is at 100%. There's no 98.1. It's, 100%.
Wow.
And then I realized that I found myself guilt. I was texting, I was like, oh, he needs to be in tennis. He needs to be in soccer. I was like, he has no classes at all. And then I thought, and I saw that Facebook group and I was just like, that thing will come. He's going to get to school. What I want is the biggest thing for me raising my kids is I want to teach them how to cope in life. And if they can learn how to cope in life, they can do whatever they want and they can be the best version of themselves. And that's what I want to teach them, to be kind, to love, and to cope and all of that. And if I can be there as a mom to help them through that, that's all I want. My husband and I talk about it all the time, being so present for them and, so they can be happy and they can laugh and they can, come to us.
And we talk about that a lot in the office about being present.
Yeah.
Like, let's be present here at work, but when we're at home, home with the family, because that's hard nowadays with social media being totally present.
Yeah, it is.
Or having your email right in your hand at any moment,
And then, because Eloise already, if I leave my phone upstairs in the bedroom and I'm walking out the door, she's like, Mommy, don't forget your phone. And that breaks my heart.
Lou said that to me one day. She said, and we try, again, not great, but put it away for dinner time. But one time there was something with work and I was getting texts and she said, Mama, put the phone down. And I'm like, oh.
And when your 2.5-year-old saying that, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's tough work.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough being a mom. But
I love being a mom because I felt more. I was talking to another mom who has twin boys, and they're about 10 months. And, we're both entrepreneurs. And, for when we were, before we had kids, it's work, as much money as we can make. But being a mom kind of helps you. It's crazy because it's so fast, but it makes you slow down. And I don't know, I felt more introspective and my priorities shifted. And
I feel more useful. I don't know if that's the right word.
Totally.
Like more of a purpose.
Yeah.
Totally more of a purpose. Yep.
And I never wanted kids, and that's what's crazy.
That's how I am, too. I've never really wanted kids. And
that's how I was till about 39, 40.
Yeah. Oh, ladies. I think you could probably come back for a few more episodes.
I feel like we barely brushed the surface.
I know.
No kidding. I know.
We have so much material.
Oh, well, put it on your to-do list. And you can always come in with breast milk and unbrushed hair and unbrushed teeth and stains on your clothes. No judging here. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for today's episode. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and if you're feeling feeling really generous, write me a review. And don't forget to join me next week for a new episode of Two Kids and a Career.